Welcome to A Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Finks.
We're back, man. Episode 322.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get right into it. P. Diddy beats women, and it's on camera.
That is a wild.
Caught in fucking 4K.
God dang.
Recently, P. Diddy says from denial to admission how a surveillance tape held Sean Diddy Combs accountable. Almost 48 hours after being shown physically assaulting his then girlfriend Cassie Ventura in 2016, a surveillance video obtained exclusively by CNN, Sean Diddy Combs has apologized. Just before 1 p.m. Eastern time on Friday, CNN published the video on which Combs is seen grabbing, shoving, dragging, and kicking Ventura during an altercation that matches allegations in a now settled federal lawsuit filed by Ventura in November. At publication time, excuse me. At publication time, representatives for Combs, an influential figure in the music industry who founded it, well, who cares about that, had not responded to the request for comment. So, just after 11 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday, Combs released a video on Instagram which he apologized for an incident he previously denied ever happening in the first place. It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times of your life, but sometimes you got to do that. Combs said in the video statement posted on Instagram, "I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable." Yeah, you fucking woman beater. You held that woman for over a decade, since 2005. Cassie's 1 year younger than me, which means she was 19 in 2005. So you got a 19-year-old girl from 05 all the way to 2019 beating the shit out of her. See, this is the problem, dog. Whenever you are a grown-ass man, because how old is P. Diddy? He's got to be he's easily in his 50s.
54, 55.
So I assume then he was in his late 30s when he got with her.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the deal. When you get with young women like that, there's a reason. The reason is young women are very impressionable. So when you get a woman that's that young, you can mold her into what you want. And the thing about it is she's looking at him in a way that a grown woman wouldn't. Like a grown woman gonna look at him beating her ass and controlling her and be like, "Oh, fuck no, I got to get out of here." But a young woman is like, "What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong?" You know what I'm saying? I didn't mean for that to be funny. But that's the thing, man. This motherfucker was fucked up. Then he's beating on her. And then you apologize for a video from fucking 8 years ago when you knew it happened. And then not only that, it's alleged that he paid the staff $50K to stuff that video. When they asked the same hotel, the hotel stated that company no longer owns this place. It's new management, so we can't talk about it.
Yeah.
But it's like, God damn, man. Like this
They said they don't have access to the documents.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it was old management.
Mm-hmm.
But man, look here, dog. Being a woman beater is the lowest human act possible, especially as a man.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you ever feel like you want to backhand a woman, you need to get away from her.
Yeah.
You need to get away from her, and y'all need to get away from each other because she shouldn't be hitting you, but you definitely shouldn't be hitting no fucking woman. That is inexcusable.
I think the crazy part about this whole situation is that there were still people that was
defending this nigga.
Not necessarily defending. That's not where I was going with it.
Oh, go ahead.
But like not necessarily defending him, but like not necessarily like jumping out the window on making any certain like comments or statements about him.
Right.
That was until this video came out, and it just looked so crazy, and it hit the net so fast. Like instantly somebody sent it to me. I sent it to Eddie, and then he sent it to me on a separate social media. Like it was like it just spread like wildfire, and I was like, yeah, that's like. Because when you see the lawsuit, it was a civil suit that Cassie had filed. So a lot of it is like, they say like, a settlement is not an admission of guilt. So I'm not necessarily saying like, I didn't know what to believe. I thought some of that stuff was crazy. But I know that a civil suit is much different than like going through, like a actual FBI investigation and all this other stuff. So I was just waiting to see what they find, and then we just got like a, what do you call that? Like a early Christmas present. Like, and they just, CNN just hit us over the head with this, like, no pun intended. But I just gotta say, the video looked crazy, bro. Yeah. Like, the nigga is like
in a towel.
The nigga's running, like, he got a weird run too. Like,
he runs like he beats women.
That nigga is naked in the hallway with a white towel on, and he just slinging her across the freaking. And this is like, I don't know, like they said, like it probably was like late morning, and it just like, it's so crazy that he's doing this in a public facility.
Yeah,
that's so crazy.
He had a little woman beater jog going down the fucking hallway. Here's the deal. I think that things like this happen when you have loose ends. When you've been beating a woman for fucking a decade, right? You're not always going to be able to cover it up. There's cameras around, and especially in this time, they call it Big Brother. Big Brother is everywhere. If I was to walk outside and go through, let's say I went through the intersection and I just socked a person and then I walked off and went home, that's not the end of it. See, what's going to happen is there's cameras at damn near every intersection. All they got to do is get a timestamp of when I punched that guy. And then when I drive off, they're going to get my license plate. They're going to show up to my house. It's almost impossible to get away with crime because somebody's going to see it. And if you get too comfortable beating on women or committing crimes, that's when you get busted.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. What I'm saying holds no weight right now. But I personally feel that this ain't it. There's going to be more shit that comes out.
Oh, if you doing this like that, like,
oh yeah,
out in like at a very popular hotel, like out on the floor, like it got to be some other wilder, videos or, surveillance, This is like you. I think like you were saying. This is something that was probably just like when you live in that kind of lifestyle where you're in an abusive or domestic violence, and it's happening so frequently. Like you said, I think it was probably a situation where he can usually scrub some tapes or get some stuff. Get some people to be quiet or, just different scenarios like that. DJ Academics was telling a story, and I don't know how true it is or if it's true or not, but they were saying that, the whole J. Cole and Diddy situation where, they got into a scuffle because of Kendrick Lamar's like Control verse or whatever. But he was saying that he heard that when that situation happened, everybody in the club had to like take their phones out, and like security or whoever was like making sure there was no, saved pictures, videos, whatever. They had to make sure like all their phones was like
white.
All that video footage was gone.
P. Diddy is a complete piece of shit. So he's going to be very paranoid about everything he does. And ultimately too, just to go backtrack a little bit, I think that Cassie was captive. I think that she was literally a prisoner in plain sight. And I think that what she did, I think that there may have been some level of, I'm not going to say genius, but there had to be some level of like, I'm not even trying to get away. I'm going to a camera that I know is there. Because people, you do this to me behind closed doors. I need you to do it in public so I can get a timestamp on this day of you beating me and everybody can see it. I really feel like there was some form of strategy from Cassie to go down that fucking hallway. She knew that he was going to snatch her up, and she needed that to happen because we had there was no real trace of it going on.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? It kind of like when this has like been kind of like sizzling, if that like makes sense. Like this, we have been getting like information bit by bit. First it's just like, first you hear like the rumors of like Kim Porter and what happened to her, and there's all these conspiracy theories, and all these, people are going down rabbit holes to see why, certain things happen. And then you start to hear the security guards coming out, and they're doing like dang near weekly podcast, interviews, basically describing the situations where they seen Cassie, with a black eye, or, they seeing like different dudes coming from the freak off, or he's like, y'all seen Ja Rule and Diddy running around and like all kind of, you just hearing all these stories, and you're like, dog, it just, not that you don't believe it, it's just like, I'm a person that I just need proof, because I realize that the internet is the internet, and there's a lot of stuff going around. So even with the other lawsuit with the producer, a lot of the stuff just sound like crazy. It just sounds so wild. But I think, finally seeing this video, it gives us the detail that it almost tells me, like, if she didn't lie about this, if this is literally like in her civil suit, like she's literally documenting that specific event and she's telling it, she's literally like it, she's writing it like a freaking screenplay. And, when you see it play out, she describes the vases being thrown at her and getting punched in the head, and him coming out, and like she's describing it in that way. In an event that happened so many years ago, it's like, why would she lie about anything else?
Look, man, I don't think Cassie's going to spare this motherfucker. I think we're going to see random sites with footage that is going to be wild. And that's before this year is up. This video drop, okay, cool. There's going to be some shit that's more than implicating him. It might be some sexual stuff. It might be more beatings. It might be something else. But it's going to come out. And I'll tell you this much right now. After seeing him beating her the way he beating her, it's not just hitting her, grabbing her. He was stomping her, bro.
Yeah, he kicked her.
He started stomping her.
Yeah.
So that just tells you how unglued this motherfucker was. And it makes you believe a lot of the other allegations. How he was literally trying to get them to do shit. Like trying to get that, what was that producer? He's trying to get that kid to fuck somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that this is this guy's life behind closed doors.
Yeah, that's a sick man.
Yeah, bro.
That's a sick man.
And as much as you want to use words like alleged and you want to use words like, this and that, which are important, you don't want to make definite statements. But let's be clear. The way you beating and stomping somebody with no conscience, you might have been fucking some people you wasn't supposed to fuck. You might have been forcing people to do shit they wasn't supposed to do. You might have been paying sex workers to do things to Cassie. You might have been doing all of it.
But that's the thing though. Like, that's why I'm like, if you're to describe, if Cassie and her thing is describing this event, and who knows if she actually seen the footage? I mean, she might not have seen the footage. But if she's describing this situation so vividly, and everything that she said aligned, I don't see a world where she would just put random stuff in there. You know what I mean? Like if I'm telling a story, I just told you a story earlier about, somebody that we know, their grandma or whatever. If I'm telling you that story and you somehow maybe 3 weeks later see the surveillance footage of the said conversation that I was telling you about, and I'm telling you a couple more stories, you would probably be like, well, if that one is true, why would he lie about any of the other stories? So I think that everything in that civil suit is true. And not to mention, he settled a day later.
Mm-hmm.
And he settled, what I think, initially you could have thought about it in a way where it was like, well, he probably settled because he just didn't want the smut on his name. He just wanted to get it out the way and he just want to move on with his life. But when you actually, think about this video, it probably would lead you to believe that he settled because he knew that if it dragged on, one, stuff like this would get out. Yeah. And then two, it's like there was no way he was going to win. So it's like, all right, cool. Let me give her this money and let's just get this out the way. I would say for Diddy, I think that, it's unfortunate that, I'm not going to say like a person that I like looked up to, but just in terms of like hip hop culture, you know, a person that ran like a extremely successful record label, brought us many of like, you know, talented musicians, singers, rappers, the whole nine. It's just like the farthest fall from grace that we'll probably ever see.
I'm cool with that though, 100%.
Yeah. And
fuck out of here.
I just think that I think for him, he should just duck off.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think all these statements, all of this trying to save face, all of this popping up, you know, riding your bike and trying to act like life is normal. Like, the apologies, it ain't doing nothing for you. I think what he need to do is just get right with God and wait till they sentence him. And it's probably gonna be like a year or so from now, maybe a couple years from now.
Look here, man. First of all, fuck this nigga. Fuck all his contributions. Fuck what he has going on. I mean, he is a prime example. I talked about this on my other podcast, the Oleander Sunset. I briefly inserted him in there. P. Diddy is a prime example of when fake it till you make it goes wrong. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is this. You know, there's an optimistic side of fake it till you make it, right? Like literally start behaving like the person you want to be in the future, right? Start conducting yourself in that way. Yeah. But the other side of fake it till you make it is by the time you reach your destination and you have not developed your character at all, you're going to be in positions and in spaces where you have to continue to fake it. And you're this guy, the veneer of you seems great. I'm P. Diddy, I'm motivational, I'm this and that, but you're beating women. You cannot be successful when you disrespect and beat women and you write fucked up record deals. That is not integral. That's not an integrity thing that you would build over time if you were really developing your character, right? Some people just fake it, period. And that's P. Diddy. He's a guy that we see all the time that makes it into a successful space, but you a piece of shit. You was a piece of shit before you were successful. Now you a piece of shit with money. What the fuck you think's gonna happen now? All of those things you were doing before you became somebody, now they're worse. And here's what people are not thinking about too. When it comes to Cassie got money now. Money talks.
She got some M's.
So it's rumored to be 30 million. So that's what she demanded. So let's say Cassie does have $30 million. Do you think it's impossible for her to get that motherfucking footage from that person that was there that day? It's money makes people do things. I'm not saying that's what happened. All I'm saying is she's not a person that just has to sit back and not do nothing. If I was her, I would want that nigga in prison.
I think that's what people are saying. That they're saying that she's more than likely cooperating with the law, with law enforcement. So, I mean, how else would you get the information? You know, in a reputable way. Somebody that already filed a civil suit with some of the same allegations that they're actually looking for. Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense. They say when it comes to NDAs and stuff like that, when the feds come, they don't care about no NDA.
And the thing too that's crazy is P. Diddy's a businessman, so I'm pretty sure he understands the parameters and what he can get away with, even as fucked up as it is, without all of it coming out. See, they might have, huh?
I don't even think that. I don't think he's thinking about what he can and can't get away with. I think he's just trying to get away with like some wild stuff. And I think he has the money and the structure. Same thing with R. Kelly. Like, I don't think it's that well thought out. I think there's a structure to it. Like, okay, let's maneuver here. All right, let's go through this back door. All right, make sure the security guard is like tight lip, he can't say nothing. But I don't think that he's thinking about like, I can get away with this because it's illegal. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just don't think that it's just not. I don't think when it comes to like guys like this and R. Kelly and P. Diddy, like not in the same way, but just like both like devils. I think that they're like, I think they're just dumb, and it's a lot of ego, and it's a lot of pride, and it's a lot of like money involved. And I think that's like when people point to like entertainment, you know, being like what it is, or like Hollywood being like the what it is in terms of just like creating like monsters, or these Harvey Weinstein, or like all these people, and it becomes like money, power, and success, and like people, you know, just want to be around you to be successful. Guys like Farnsworth Bentley wanting to be like, hold your umbrella as a grown man. Like that's like what comes with this. Yeah, I think it's a lot of like a lot of pride and ego, and just feel like you a god, you know?
It is. But any man that runs a business, that runs a large, massive business, like Sean Diddy Combs, has the foresight of how to not get sued. So when you know how to not get sued, you're also thinking about all the evil shit that you're doing, and if there's any loose ends, how can you protect yourself? Mm-hmm. So think about it. If you're able to beat a woman for over a decade and not get in trouble, you're doing a pretty fucking good job. You've done this over a stint of, and imagine this. I don't think that's his first victim. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that maybe Kim Porter might know a thing or two about being beat by Sean Combs. And if that shit comes out, that's going to be the worst. If they could literally get information from her being beat and videos and proof of her being domestically abused, that's going to be way off. Now, P. Diddy's career is already fucking over, right? But we ain't talking about his career no more. All the people he affected. Even Cassie's, think about this. Even Cassie's new husband is affected by this. Mm-hmm. You want to know why? If I get with a woman and she told me I had a rough past, I'm just trying to whatever, and she doesn't go into detail, and then probably 4 months into the relationship, she tells me that she was beat. She tells me that she was raped. She tells me that she was forced to do sexual things. And this is the woman that I care about. I'm going to want to kill this nigga now. Mm-hmm. And I got to sit there and listen to this punk motherfucker give inspirational videos after I know you done rape, beat, and torture my fucking girlfriend for 10 years?
Yeah.
Like, this nigga's a piece of shit, bro. Like, and to make it worse, like when I just mentioned now, him having the foresight to not get sued, I think he does understand the legal parameters of how he could do sick shit and not get outed immediately. The feds showed up to his motherfucking house, and they just showed up and they confiscated whatever they confiscated, and it didn't get released. This video came to CNN. I don't know where it came from. All I know is the feds might know even more than what they know, but they can only release so much in doses.
The feds ain't releasing nothing. The feds, they're not jeopardizing their case in any way, shape, or form. It's probably a select few people that have access to those hard drives and all that. You know, because
R. Kelly shit never came out.
Yeah, we just know, like,
they seen it.
Yeah, there's people, and even I don't even think the cameras were able to go into the thing. They just like documented or like had secondhand information, like when it comes to even, they even like scrubbed Aaliyah's name, and this is a tight knit.
But they described the sick shit that they seen.
It was a story that many of us had already heard. That somebody walked in on, R. Kelly while he was doing, whatever. But yeah, I think that I think this is a separate thing. I think this is what I think this is. It probably was a situation, because I don't think Cassie cares about like the public perception, because she already knows what happened. She won the civil suit. She knows what the feds know. She's already talking to the people that know what's going on. She probably knows the information they have. I think this is like some TMZ stuff. This is like I know the person that worked there in 2016. They probably sent it to their Google Drive or whatever and just held it and was like, yo, I got some heat. CNN probably paid him like, six figures to get the
we don't know where the video came from, because you don't. Here's the thing. You're right. TMZ people pay for information, right? But we don't know if there was an email account exchange, And we don't know if that was a strategy of Cassie's to do it out in public. It looked like a cry for help. She looked like she was trying to escape, but it also looked like it wasn't urgent enough. She didn't look like she was running. She was walking. Therefore, a person that's really trying to get away is going to fucking run. I
hear what you're saying, because when I see it, I'm like, you could think about it two ways. She said that he was asleep, right? So, she like tried to sneak out. She got her shoes in her hand. She's running out. She hit the elevator. She may think that she's going to get out before he wakes up. And then there's also a version where I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, if you were trying to like get away, like, why don't you hit the stairs? And I don't know how the thing is set up, and maybe she didn't know exactly where the staircase is, because sometimes it's not, in plain sight. But yeah, to be trying to run away and like, so, I think that brings some, merit to what you're saying.
I would also, and this is me just being a podcaster, I would also assume that a man that's holding a woman captive, right, would also have security intel nearby to turn her back around when she leaves. Therefore, if she leaves, she knows she can't get by security. So what was the motive? If you're out and about and you know this dude is a psycho, you want him to show the world who he is. That shit, the way that it's caught in plain fucking sight.
It's almost like, like if we're going along with what you're saying, it's almost like you were saying that there's no cameras in this room, in this suite or whatever. If we walk out together, he's probably not going to do. It's almost like I have to provoke him in a way where he gets to show his true colors. But I would say that may be the case if this is like one of the few. Like if this is like one slip up in X amount of years, which I don't imagine. Like if there's more of these, like different hotels, different restaurants, or whatever, different clubs and stuff like that, then I'd be like, this nigga's just unhinged. But if it's just one slip up, I could see, there being some merit to that, because it's like, I know he move. It's almost like if I'm Cassie, I know he move very military, tight knit. So I just got to get him where I know he don't have enough emotional intelligence to not attack me out in public. So let me just run to this elevator and see what happens.
And what happened. And I'm gonna say something that is implying something greater, but I'm gonna say it's from an alleged tone. P. Diddy strikes me as somebody that has murdered somebody before. And here's why. When you're that
Tupac.
Yeah, possibly, but I'm talking about physically has murdered somebody with a knife. Like he strikes me as somebody that is so callous that when you're stomping a woman the way you're doing it, that you are so unhinged that if you're giving the opportunity to do it, you would. I would not. If they said they had video evidence of him murdering somebody, I would not be shocked. Am I calling him a murderer? No. Do I feel like he has the capacity to do it? Absolutely. Well, there was a woman that was on Making the Band that he threw everybody out, and she says, "I'm not afraid of you." They ran that video back, and everybody was in there quiet and scared. This is back in 2003? Back when that was on, was that 03, I think it was. So this is the guy that there's a tone about this guy.
Well, to piggyback off of what you're saying, like it's not even that deep. There's the situation with Shine, at the club where the girl gets shot. And, Shine says, basically he took the fall for the whole situation. Then you got the Keefe D, basically saying like,
killed him.
Yeah, basically saying like Puffy wanted, this to happen. And, when it was time to get the bread for the situation, and, I couldn't get my money. So now I'm speaking out. So, yeah, I mean, that's another thing. Keefe D is probably sitting in a jail somewhere, and they asking him all these questions as far as like what's it that they gonna bring the house down.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be.
I feel like
this is going to be crazy.
I feel like P. Diddy is a flight risk, and I think that they.
Nah.
What you mean?
They ain't letting him leave the country.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's a flight risk because right now, this is the only thing. Okay, he obviously he's on camera. He apologized for it, but he has not been implicated in any of the crimes yet. So this is the only time he has time to get on a plane and go to Bali, because that is the only place they're not extraditing people.
Nah, he would have had to have left before all this. He would have had.
You think they got him like that already?
He would have had to leave before the civil suit, at least. Like, because I don't see a world where, one, you got to go through like the clear, on a private jet, you got to go through the clear port where, you get your passport. I don't know how it goes. I ain't never been on a private jet, but I would imagine it's a condensed version of going on a regular airplane where, you give me your ID and all this other stuff. So I just don't imagine. I know that they're like tapped in, you know what I mean? They probably they have a, what do you call it? They got a warrant, and I don't know, what all the warrant entails, but I would imagine, they got access to a lot of, his whereabouts and stuff like that.
If you try to catch an international flight, they could turn you back around.
Yeah, they not letting that fly.
And they probably by law can say, hey, you're not under arrest, but you can't
leave the country.
We're
investigating.
Here it is that the United States does not have an extradition treaty with China, Indonesia, Iran, Mongolia, Russia, Taiwan, Ukraine, Vietnam, the GCC states, most African states, and most former Soviet states. So his best luck was to be out there with Russell Simmons. That was his best bet.
Where is he? He's in Indonesia?
Yeah, he's Russell Simmons is in Bali.
Oh, in Bali?
Yeah, hold on, let me see here. Russell Simmons. There it is. Russell Simmons, Bali. Russell Simmons has been served a lawsuit in Bali. We previously reported that the music mogul who currently resides in Bali was shocked when he was served. This nigga got served out there? How the fuck they find you, Russell Simmons, served in Bali?
That nigga be on social media all the time.
Oh my God. Daniel John Ayub, a process server, delivered a lawsuit to Simmons on behalf of Drew Dixon, a former music executive. Drew Dixon is accusing Simmons of defamation for vehemently denying her sexual assault claims. Russell was reportedly taken back when being served. While celebrating his friend's wedding ceremony, Simmons shares a message about life. The part of the caption reads, "An important fact about life, I have made/earned friendships over all of the world. If I die tomorrow, many people from all over will see my daughters and say, I loved your father. That is a piece of my earned legacy. Loving people has been easy to do, has been a privilege and a blessing." Well, it's been a blessing, you fucking pedophile, because Russell Simmons was dating Kimora Lee Simmons when he was 35 and she was 17. Mm-hmm. These people, man, some of these niggas is sick. Your favorite stars, Mr. Paul Walker from Fast and Furious. When he was 33, his girlfriend was 16 years old. Like, these dudes are straight pedophiles, and it's crazy how, we got Fast and Furious doing all, it's been a long day without you, my friend. Nigga was a pedophile. Okay? I'm not trying to stomp on that man's grave, but he fucking was. So was Elvis. So was all kind of other people, right? And it's all in plain sight. He was holding hands. And they said, well, he didn't have a relationship with her until she was 18, but they have been seeing each other since she was 16. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on. Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld, another one.
He got a young...
Yeah. Oh, my God. She was like 16.
Dang.
Bro. Hold on. Watch this shit. Jerry Seinfeld. Watch this shit. This shit is wild. Hold on. Here it is. Seinfeld's controversial romance with Shoshana Lowenstein-Gruss, who was a high school student whom he met in Central Park in 1993 when she was 17 and he was 38, has seen a renewed interest on social media. This is 3 days ago.
Dang.
38. So that's like me going over to BHS looking for a fucking girlfriend. Mm-hmm. That's like me going to West High School looking for a fucking girlfriend. That is wild.
Yeah. So what happened? They started dating each other, or what?
Which one you talking about, man? We just got a whole
Jerry Seinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld. Jerry Seinfeld was literally dating her. Let's go here. Mm-hmm. Let me click on it. Okay. All right. Simon, teenage. Okay. Seinfeld. Okay. Seinfeld, Lowenstein, Courtney Daily Bees. Oh my God, there's so much to read. Jesus Christ. Back in 94, Seinfeld characterized relationship as serious and proper in an interview with People. Shoshana is a person, not an age. This is what he said in quote. Shoshana is a person, not an age. He said she is extremely bright. She's funny, sharp, very alert. We just get along. You can hear the click for her part. Lowenstein-Gruss said she just wanted to continue enjoying a normal life and just go about being a student. So they let this nigga get away with saying all these things. I don't have all those things to say about a 17-year-old girl because I'm not around them long enough to do it.
Dang. Creep 39-year-old Jerry Seinfeld with his 17-year-old girlfriend.
Fucking crazy. He was 39 at the time.
Dang.
God damn. That's my age. I'm 39. You know how fucking weird that is? I am at the age where I can have a daughter in high school.
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna tell you this much right now. As a father, if I had a daughter that was going to any high school and a girl said, "Oh, my boyfriend's coming," and he was like 35, I said, "Hey, look here, homie. Don't you ever bring your motherfucking ass to this high school again. Don't ever come here again. I will call the police on your ass. Do not come around here again."
I know Woody Allen is another one.
Yes, Woody Allen's another one.
It was his stepdaughter that he's in a relationship with now.
Fucking still?
Yeah.
God damn. That's what we just let these. It's like, here's the thing. It's so many people that are so weird that we just let them get away with things because they have talent. Mm-hmm. Right? It's like, you think about it. Chris Brown, woman beater, but being handsome and talented has got him, like people just forget about it. Mm-hmm. You got women paying a woman beater $1,000 to take a picture with them. Mm-hmm. That's crazy, right? Mm-hmm. You literally can see the bruises and cuts on Rihanna's face. Flash forward to now, and women paying this nigga $1,000 to take a picture. How much do we really care about domestic violence in America?
I don't think people really care.
We claim to care so much, like we need to protect women, blah, blah, blah. Well, we need everybody to feel that way because there's women out here taking pictures with a woman beater.
Yeah.
Man, it's wild. I think Trey Songz going to end up being next with the amount of women that keep coming forward on that nigga.
Oh, Trace, yeah. That's the thing though. Like, I think that there's like, this is what I say about like the industry. I think that there are some people that just, for example, like Rory from, Rory and Mal podcast. Rory, he's the one that kind of is outing Trey Songz. Like when he's the one that kind of said like, yo, once the Trey Songz documentary come out, like people are gonna basically say like R. Kelly looked like, PG, like a PG movie or something. I forget what he said exactly.
Right when you said that, this popped up.
Oh yeah.
It's showing a picture of P. Diddy, Drake, and Trey Songz. It says, "These freaked out ass niggas was up to no good that night."
Yeah. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that I think that in the industry, and Kendrick Lamar is a culprit as well. When it comes to like, there's like how would you put it? Like people just, they don't take none of this serious. I think that, there probably was people that maybe seen P. Diddy hitting Cassie or seen these freak offs happening and all these different things. And it's like, I don't know, it's like a weird fraternity in entertainment where like, like instead of like treating it as a serious matter, it just turns into gossip. It turns into like podcast conversations. You know what I mean? I think what I will say about the security, I think his name is Gene Deal. I forget. I have to look it up. But I think what he's doing is actually like, I think there's a lot of value to it. At first I looked at it and like, dang, this nigga's just trying to like get clicks or he's just trying to do. But when you actually like sit back and, maybe look at him as being like a person that may have helped the feds, like, in their investigation or even like to start looking in certain places, pretty much everything he says is starting to come to light. So, but I say that to say there are other entertainers, other rappers, producers, podcasters that kind of just talk around conversations. Like, man, there's some, like Kendrick Lamar said, I just like, basically I'm coming here to let y'all know it's some crazy stuff that goes on in this industry. And it's a lot of people that kind of like pacify a lot of the stuff that goes on. But if you're not saying it, then you're not saying it. You know what I mean? Right. That's kind of what I'm saying is just that there's a lot of people that talk around these conversations and that's why guys like R. Kelly and P. Diddy get to do this for like decades, because no one is actually saying anything.
There's a power thing too. I think with a guy like Diddy, if you come out and you say that, for one, the court of public opinion is a problem. They're going to automatically, I don't know why people do this, but when something comes out about a celebrity, they don't even think twice. They'd be like, oh man, you a hater. You hating on Diddy because you jealous. People automatically take that position because this person's so famous. And what's wild, the scariest shit that's really out there is the fact that there's an assumption of good when somebody is famous. People just assume they're a good person.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's fucking dangerous, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not cool. Okay, check this out. Here's an example of it. I made a statement. Or not a statement. I responded to a post I seen. It was what's the name? Witherspoon's son, J.D. Witherspoon.
Yeah.
It was what's his dad's name again?
John.
John Witherspoon's son, J.D. had posted him like doing a Crip walk to They're Not Like Us, and I was just like, man, I said something to the effect of like, it's kind of crazy as a society we like Crip walking to a pedophile song. Like we kind of a little morally bankrupt. I can't remember what I said exactly, but some popular YouTuber responded to my comment and he said, shut up and go complain on your weak ass podcast. And it got a bunch of likes. It just got a bunch. And then people start attacking me. You lame, you suck, you trash, shut up, you garbage, you suck, you trash, you suck. Right?
How did that make you feel?
It made me feel no way. I felt bad for those people. You know why? Because nobody could think for themselves. A lot of people are waiting for someone of stature to respond before they can say something.
Yeah.
Some people wait for the tone of the comments before they say something. So you just got people doubling down and abusing you in the comment section. It got so crazy, I deleted the comment because I got tired of seeing the updates. And it's sad how many people can't think for themselves. You have to be a little more calculated when you come out against these people.
I think I would hate, I have like, I be seeing like little stuff here and there, just from me being on music video sets and stuff like that. But I haven't seen nothing that's like wild. But I would hate to be in a situation where you like Audrey O'Day or like Gene Deal or any of these people where you like, hey guys, like this dude is sick. Like this is a sick person, like, but ain't nobody like paying you no mind.
That's exactly what's going on.
I would hate to be in that situation, especially if you like, I know like, if you were in a situation or you was like, hey bro, I was at this comedy show and X, Y, and Z happened, I would be like, yo, I would believe you just because I know you as a person. But I think the masses might look at it and be like, it might just be like a cool conversation for a little bit, or some people might say you a hater or whatever, and then people just move on with their lives. But it's one of those things, like if you ain't got real evidence, I think one of the things that people fail at though when they do start to have these conversations is they don't actually say what happens. They'll be like, this person was like very sick, and he did some crazy things to me when I was signed to him and all this other. But they're not like literally saying like
it's a fear
of
a lawsuit.
I think, but if it happened, you can't get sued if it literally happened. I think what Cassie did is like the most. I think what Cassie did is the most like profound thing because she laid it all out, every single detail.
But I think that there had to be some angle of strategy involved.
She got a good lawyer.
She had a good lawyer, but she also had, I think she had legitimate hard evidence against this nigga. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why she did it. But if you're somebody that's signed to his label and you don't have any concrete evidence and you're saying things, he's got the power to squash you. He got the what's the group that they was in? It's
Diddy
Kane. Mm-hmm. They got a fucked up record deal. Bad. Mm-hmm. And Aubrey O'Day was saying like, if like don't sign whatever they try to send you, don't sign it. Don't sign it. They're already not. I think it was like to get residuals of like $500 or some shit. Mm-hmm. And she said like, don't sign that. Don't.
Yeah, I think they had like a platinum album or something.
Yeah, she told them like, they say, if you need money that bad, please call me. I'll help you out with no problem. But do not sign that fucking paperwork.
She talking about signing to Bad Boy or
no? She's talking about like they reached out to like have them sign something for residuals, but you have to like also sign that you can't say anything bad about the record label or anything like that.
So she's talking about her former group mates?
Yes.
Okay.
But he's talking about the label. He's talking about Diddy.
Yeah.
They sent her an exclusive thing where she will receive royalties of X amount, but
she can't
can't say anything about the Sun or the label or P. Diddy or anybody. That's in writing.
Yeah.
And then P. Diddy's punk ass son came out with a diss track against 50, and then your woman beat her daddy the next week had a video of him beating a woman.
That's bad timing, bro.
Yeah, but if you know your daddy a woman beater, then shut your bitch ass up. Y'all both need to shut up.
Yeah.
Will never defend a fucking woman beater. Never. I think we got the most out of this topic, man. I think we could go ahead and move on. I just don't think it's over. And if it's more shit, I hope he go to prison.
I mean, I think that's enough to go to prison, but they're not. I think that there was like a statute of limitations on that situation just because it happened. Like when it happened.
What's the statute? 7 years?
I don't know the number. I just know that I think there was a statement that came out by like the federal government, and they were. I mean, not the Fed. Yeah, the feds, and they were just saying like, we're not investigating. Basically, like we're not investigating that happened. This, that during that period. And I think it's also the location and, I don't know. It's a lot of stuff that I'm not too like, I'm not like super researched on how all the judicial stuff works. But
the unfortunate thing about it being hard to like implicate him on the murder of Tupac or Biggie, the reason why it'd be hard is because technology was so different. And it was so different that the lines of communication would have to be pulled from. What you mean?
The way they got R. Kelly, a lot of that stuff didn't have. I mean, I don't know. I think they did have like some tapes or something like that. But the way that they got like R. Kelly and Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein and all these people, you just need strong witnesses. That's what it sounded like to me. Like you got some strong witnesses that get up there and they can corroborate some certain stuff. Like when the Harvey Weinstein thing, like they're describing his penis and stuff like that. That's like, the lawyers get to lawyer in and they start connecting stuff. And
then they looked at his penis?
Yeah. And it's like, how else would you know it looked like that?
Damn.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, it's a possibility. Mm-hmm. I just think that things such as pagers and things of that nature where information could have been sent.
But you got to think though, there was a real time investigation, right? Mm-hmm. So you got, cars and all this stuff is probably in a big old file like
so
this.
We're just alley-ooping it, basically.
Yeah, they probably just needed somebody. I would imagine at the time it's just so many street politics that then nobody want to come forward and say nothing. But then you connect Keefe D to it, then Keefe D is like, well, if I'm going to go down, I'm going to bring the whole industry down. Mm-hmm. And then he like, well, this is what happened. Diddy called me on this day and,
Here's the biggest problem that you really got to think about. Tupac died. How long has it been now? 26 years, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if he died about 25, 26 years ago, you got to hope that there's not some key pieces that are dead.
Yeah.
Because that's long enough for some people to be deceased, whether it's somebody that was with the local department that was investigating this, or it was people that were surrounding that case that are no longer here.
But but it's just like, remember a while back, Desmond had sent us a thing. It was like his wife's dad had solved like a cold case. Do you remember that?
Mm-mm.
You know, his father-in-law is like a
sheriff.
Yeah. It was a cold case that was just sitting around for years and years and years, and they basically found out what happened or whatever. That's what I'm saying. This stuff is just information. So they probably have like interviews from like the women that got the picture of Tupac before it all happened. They got like the shell casings and all this stuff is just in a big old file, and they probably didn't have enough to like connect a single person to it because they didn't have anybody that wanted to come forward and talk. But when you arrest Keefe D, a person that was literally in that car, and you know he old, he probably like, man, I'm 60 years old. I'm not trying to sit the rest of my life in a cell. Like, I'm gonna just snitch. I'm gonna move to Arizona, and then the rest is history.
There was a woman that posted a picture of Biggie, and it's a picture that she was on TikTok, and I had never seen this picture before, but she posted it. It was her and like her brother and some other people, and they all had a picture with Biggie. And before he died, he was on crutches for some reason. I don't know why, but basically he was stating like, this is my last album and I'm getting off this label. And she said that literally after they had that conversation, the same day he was murdered.
God dang.
And they literally, the picture that she took, like back then they had like timestamps on some pictures. You know?
Yeah, and the disposable cameras.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And that same day he was murdered. Dang. So it's like, God damn, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
it's nuts.
Like I said, it's I think we're kind of at the beginning of it all, and I think that we are going to really peel back the layers on a very devious person, and we may not be able to like connect it all, but I think that I feel like the feds play a game. Like, they're obviously in it to get like criminals off the street, but I think part of it is like, it's like there's an excitement to like bringing down like such a iconic figure, and I think that they're trying to throw the book at him. So they working diligently, and I think that there's no stone that's left unturned. I think they're looking at Biggie. I think they're looking at Kim Porter. I think they're looking at Tupac. Mm-hmm. I think they're looking at, the Shine situation. They probably done called J-Lo. I think there's like all these situations where, he was in a position to, just like wiggle away from it. I think that they're trying to bring out all
we don't know who else is in that fucking case. Who knows?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you think about who was on that label, and you think about it like, everybody that was a part of that label, their career just stopped. 112, they shit just stopped.
Yeah.
Mace basically got dropped off the label, or he left.
Mace said, "This is what I wanted to get away from," Mm-hmm. And Mace is thriving now. He got a great podcast. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he's getting a lot of money from the podcast. He ain't got to. That's what he was saying. He's like, I don't got to look over my shoulders and all this other stuff. Like, life is good. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. We'll see how this thing unfolds, man. We'll see how well this podcast ages. Yeah. Because, man, we've said some shit on here and it came to fruition.
For sure.
It's like a Simpsons episode.
Yep.
All right, switching gears. Father justifies jumping a man in front of his daughter. All right, and this is crazy, but bullying needs to stop. Father jumps dad for bullying daughter, now trolls bully father. we all do our best to raise our children in a safe environment. We want our children to go to school without fear of being bullied. As parents, when there is a problem in school, you go through proper channels to rectify the problem. But what happens when you have done everything the right way, but your child is still being bullied? A father went viral for explaining to a 7-year-old girl who was bullying his daughter why him and his brothers confronted the girl's father. Since the child was too young to catch a beatdown, her father had to bear the consequences of her actions. The father, wary of his 7-year-old daughter enduring bullying, exhausted traditional avenues of addressing the issue. Despite attempting to resolve it through letters and discussion with both other parents. What the hell? God damn it. It is. What the hell happened? This is annoying. Parents, there was proper challenge. Oh, but what happens when you have done everything the right way, but your child is still being bullied? I hate when the pages just shoot up. Like you'll be reading it. I don't
like that.
I hate that shit. It just fucked my reading up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The father, aware of his 7-year-old daughter enduring bullying, he ultimately decided to take matters into his own hands. The father now is being bullied in his DM by men saying they want to come and fight him for his actions. What are your thoughts for his approach? I mean, I don't know if we could play the video if it's too long or not.
You could probably play some of it.
Let's see.
Play
Let's see what's going on.
I woke up to like a high flux of grown men, like full grown men, DMing me, asking me if I want them to catch a flight or drive to me to fight.
That's not
for
the right
another
video.
grown man that they.
No, it was another video you posted. Anyways. I guess it was people that were disagreeing with the video or whatever that said they went, yeah, fuck all that. Basically, what this dude did is his daughter was being bullied. They went through the proper channels for it to stop happening. It kept happening. And ultimately, he found the girl that was bullying his daughter, right? And her father. Mm-hmm. And the dude got him and his brother, and they beat the dude up in front of the bully. They jumped her. And they said it's a real world reaction because you cannot get away with bullying my daughter and terrorizing her every day. I need you to see how it feels to be terrorized and beat up the same way you did my daughter. Mm-hmm. And hopefully you learn a lesson through this. Now, let's be very clear. I don't think it's okay to jump anybody, but I feel like this was justified. Bullying is terrible. Kids kill themselves all the time because they're being bullied and it won't stop. Mm-hmm. And Keith mentioned earlier, this could have prevented a suicide. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? A young person that's young beating somebody up that's not being properly, how do you call it? It's almost like they're being reinforced when they bully somebody and they don't get a serious punishment for it. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the biggest issues. Mm-hmm. I think if you bullying somebody, and this is gonna sound terrible, but if you're getting bullied by somebody, I hope you get socked in the mouth. I really do. Because it would make if the world would be a lot better place if a person that was trying, and this doesn't stop. Like if you're getting bullied as a little kid and you just keep getting bullied, it's not going to stop. You know how many people I've seen at jobs as grown adults that still get bullied? Mm-hmm. They get bullied by their bosses. They get bossed around by their partners. They get bossed around by society, and they never stick up for themselves. That can be a problem. You have to not only be able to stand up for yourself, but people that are doing the bullying, they need to be fucking punished.
Yeah. Sorry, there was a kid named Sammy. I'll just read the headline. It says hundreds turn out for funeral of Indiana boy 10 who killed himself after horrific bullying. And basically, that's Sammy is a young white kid. He has thick glasses and kind of big teeth. And just average Indiana 10-year-old, and he took his own life, and his thing was viral. Like it was number one trending on Twitter the day that he passed. I thought it's an R.I.P. Sammy. I was like Sammy the singer, I like the way. I thought it was that guy, but it was this kid, and so I think in an indirect way there is some. There's a benefit to what happened. Like I said, if this is a thing that it took the dad to get beat up in order to prevent the girl from continuing to bully, and then in order to prevent the young girl that's being bullied, from dealing with the emotional stress and maybe not wanting to show up to school, or potentially taking her own life, then I think that this was great. I just kind of find it hard connecting all of that together, like his reasoning for doing that. I find it difficult to wrap my brain around like all of that, and making it a thing where it's helping his daughter, and then the whole trauma that he's causing the young girl. So, but I also would, I also need like more details in order for me to like be able to fully side with him, in terms of like, what are all the measures that you went through in order to, what are all the channels that you went through in order to stop this girl from bullying your daughter? And then also like, what type of bullying is going on? You know what I mean? Is it
had to be physical?
I'm just saying, he didn't say, but I'm saying, is it physical? Is he physically assaulting your kid, or is she just like saying some words? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I guess that's for me, just wanting to know more of the details in order for me to be like, yo, yeah, like you did the right thing. Because it is just a polarizing thing. And I think he knows this when he's telling the story, that it's not something that like is going to be widely accepted. It's going to be, a conversation that kind of splits people in two.
Look here. I'll say this. As if I had kids and someone's bullying my kid and I bring it to your attention and the teachers say, hey, we've got it handled. Fuck no, you don't have it handled. I want those parents here now. I need to talk to both of them, one of them. I don't give a fuck if it's a single parent, the dad or the mom or whoever. See, I'm not going to put my hands on no woman, but I'll be like, hey, does that child have an uncle? Is there somebody around?
You're going to squabble with the uncle?
I swear to my right hand to God, every time your child puts a hand on mine, I'm going to fuck somebody up each time. and this is why I feel it's justified, because it's a real world punishment. Like if you beat on my child and then my child go tell the teacher and the teacher's like, hey, are you bullying Jessica again? And he's like, no. And then here, come to the office. And then the kid comes to the office and then you send the kid home and the kid come back. Hey, you snitched on me. And now you bullying my kid worse because they went and told. We know how little kids think. That they're going to tell everybody Jessica is a sissy or Bobby is a sissy, because kids don't think they don't think in everything that's happening in their world is everything to them right there. Mm-hmm. That's why that kid took his life. That little boy that killed himself, he could have grew up to be a young, handsome man. You know what I'm saying? He might have not liked his buck teeth and his big glasses, but you get older and you grow up and you go through puberty. He never got to go through fucking puberty, man.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Just because he was getting bullied by some asshole kid. Mm-hmm. That shit is fucked up, man. That ain't it. Yeah. I know Tyler, the Creator, said he got punched in the face by somebody and he had braces at the time and he was bleeding in his mouth real bad. And he ran to his mom. And his mom said, who the fuck did this? And then the little kid, he pointed to the kid, and his mama ran and chased the boy. The boy ran inside the house. And she was banging on the door, and his mom said, what's going on? She said, your son hit my fucking son. Come down here, bitch. Come down here right now.
Catch these hands.
Yeah, that's how it's going to work.
Too.
Yeah, they're in LA. So it's like, look here, man. Like, your kid is acting crazy like this. Like, I don't care if it's a dog. If your dog bite one of my kids and just run off, I'm be like, hey, either that dog got to die or you got to bring your motherfucking ass down here.
You gonna catch these hands.
Well, you gonna catch him somewhere, because your dog can't just bite my kid and just fucking walk off. I love dogs, but let's be clear. Your dog will never see the light of day if you don't bring your motherfucking ass downstairs, because that's not cool.
I think ain't they supposed to put him down?
Yeah, you're not supposed to be biting kids. Yeah. My thing is, I'll go through the legal channels to get that dog taken away, but for you to just, here's the thing that would make me want to hurt somebody. If I tell you that, hey, your son is bullying my son, and you said, boys will be boys, I'm just going to sock you right in your mouth. I'm not going to waste no time. I'm going to sock you right in your mouth. Because I just told your punk ass that your son is bullying my son, and you just thought it's a joke? This ain't no fucking joke, man. You're terrorizing my kid. That's not cool.
He said, you know what, Eddie, man, boys will be.
You know that Batman meme? Slap the fuck out of him, man.
The little
yeah, Joe
the little
Rogan
sound effect on there.
The stories I hear about bullying are crazy too. Like Joe Rogan talked about how he was bullied when he was young, and he didn't. It's before he knew any martial arts of any kind. And one of the things that kind of made him get into martial arts is how defenseless he was. Yeah. He said that one time a bully dragged him to the ground and balled his fist and stood over him, and he just looked at him and said, "You're not worth it." And he said that was worse than any bullying I ever had because I was so pitiful. He didn't even want to punch me.
No, it's definitely real. And I would say just from my own personal experience, like my actual life, the only thing that has prevented or stopped bullying is somebody getting their ass whooped.
Yep.
And that's just like, and not to say that like, going through the proper channels doesn't work, but I'm just saying in my personal experience, like it wasn't like I went to the teacher. I think some kids don't even like you said, they don't want to tell the teacher because they feel like, like, oh, I don't want to be looked at as like a tattletale or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, when you put hands on somebody, that'll change their tune quick, whether it's yourself or, somebody else. In my case, it was my uncle, or my uncles, helping me out. But yeah, that stuff the bullying is real, man. It's not like, it's not to be taken lightly. And, like we always say, you can't really tell somebody how to react. And from what it, like I said, from what it sounds like, it sounds like he went through all the proper protocols, like talking to the school, talking to the parent and stuff like that. But yeah,
some people come from very bad backgrounds. They come from very bad homes, and the only way they'll learn to leave you the fuck alone is when you fuck them up. That is the only way some people learn. They'll be like, nanner, nanner, nanner. Hey man, leave me alone. Next day, man, nanner, nanner. Next day, man, nanner. Then you sock them in the mouth. They're like, fuck, why'd you hit me? And they leave you alone.
Yeah,
it's like spraying a cockroach. Motherfuckers won't leave you alone until you actually do something to them.
That's one thing that I not that I like would change anything about how I was raised in that way, but I just wish I had more confidence as a kid. You know what I mean? To just punch somebody in the face. You know what I mean? Like I felt like when I got into a fight, it was like a last resort kind of thing. But I think if in those situations, if you are getting bullied, especially me, because I got bullied for my last name, and I know that even with my niece, I know that she has like some sort of feelings about her last name being Fingers, and I think that like you gotta be, especially if you're a boy, even if you're a girl, but if you're a boy, you gotta be able to like, somebody making fun of you for your last name, just be like, to be able to stand up for yourself and slap somebody if necessary. So. Yeah, that's yeah. So I don't know. I think it worked. If that was his goal, I think I would say this is what I think probably happened, and this is me just like speculating. I think he probably went through the channels, like he went to the school and it was like, hey, we're going to handle this. We've already told such and such to stop doing it, and we took away her recess and all this other stuff. Boom. And then maybe he talked to the dad, and then the dad is like, yeah, don't worry about it, man. Like, I'll go talk to her. And then it probably still kept going on. And he just got like so frustrated. He was like, if I beat your ass crazy enough with me and my brothers, you were either going to like,
he did it in front of the girl too.
Yeah. You were either going to like stop, like communicate differently with your daughter, or it's just a crazy enough ass whooping that you going to do something like drastic to stop your daughter from bullying my daughter. And, yeah, man, I can't. Yeah. If it worked, it worked, and like I said, if the other side of it was that it was just going to keep happening, and the teachers or the principal wasn't going to do nothing, then, so be it.
Man, as far as the people in these teachers or these principals and vice principals, too many kids have died under your watch. Too many children have lost their lives under your watch. You were a kid once, right? You attended a junior high or elementary, right? Why the fuck do you act so oblivious when kids are going through things? It's annoying how they're like, oh, why are you doing that? You weren't 12 at one time. You weren't fucking 9. Like, I know we're all adults, but come on. Mm-hmm. I remember there was the sad thing about some adults is like they're not even properly glued the right way to deal with children's problems. Mm-hmm. When I was in junior high, we were playing football, and I broke my ankle. One of the guys, I forgot what his name. Anyways, he fell on my ankle after making a tackle, and I could hear a pop. And I try to walk it off because I'm a little kid, and you have little ankle sprains and stuff. You walk it off, but it just wouldn't work, and it was painful. I went in there to get like treated, and they put like some ice on my ankle, and he said, "Oh, walk it off. You're a big kid. You'll be all right." Mr. Taylor, right? My ankle kept swelling up. It was purple and shit. It was all fucked up. So I tell my dad, eventually we go to the hospital, and I got a broken ankle, and I got to get a cast put on it and whatnot. And my dad went back to the school, and he said, "You had my son walk back to class without calling me with a broken ankle that was swollen up." He said, "Oh, well, he seemed like he was fine." He said, "Motherfucker, you didn't call me." He said, "You're going to pay for everything in that hospital." He said, "If you don't fucking pay for my son's medical, then you won't have a bowl of oatmeal to eat in this fucking school." And they paid for everything.
Yeah, y'all should have sued.
He paid for everything. It was either that or my dad was going to beat his ass. That's one thing that I really respect about my father is he always stuck up for me when it came to anything at the school. Yeah. He always was there. Mm-hmm. And him and the teacher almost threw hands one time. Mm-hmm. It was Mr. Bass. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Mr. Bass. He's actually a great guy. Mm-hmm. I was kind of being a dickhead in his class a little bit, but he called me stupid one day. Mm-hmm. And I told my dad. My dad came down there. He said, "My son needs to get his act together, but you don't ever fucking call my son stupid. You're going to have a problem with me." And then when they went in the office, Mr. Bass didn't want to sit down, so my dad didn't sit down. And the principal, I think her name was Mrs. Fambro. She's like, "You guys need to have a seat." My dad said, "I'll sit down when he sit down. Mm-hmm. You're not going to stand over me." Right? And Mr. Bass is a tall guy. He had things like 6'6" or 6'7". And my dad was like 6'5". Yeah, but dude was not afraid of my dad, and my dad was not afraid of him at all. And then they had some conversations afterwards, and then it was all good after that. Mm-hmm. It was a mutual respect. But he knew that my dad didn't play that fucking shit. And sometimes a lot of these teachers are used to a bunch of like absentee parents that don't step up, and the teachers be getting a little too motherfucking comfortable running their mouth.
What was the result of?
The result is everything was cool. My dad got on me and made sure that I shut my mouth in class, and he had to regulate on Mr. Bass, and him and Mr. Bass was cool. Mm-hmm. And then after that, Mr. Bass was actually a coach at Bakersfield High School. I think he was offensive line. Uh-huh. So we had seen him over there too. Mm-hmm. But that's the thing, man. Sometimes people need to know that there's representation at home.
Yeah.
There's so many motherfucking baby mama, baby daddy situations that it's not a lot of parents that's in there working together. Because here's the thing, I'm going to say this before we move on. Sometimes when there's a problem at school, and let's say, for example, your wife comes up there and she's like, "What's going on with the kid? This and that, da-da-da." Sometimes if there's men in there are some men that are so dumb that they're not assertive enough or they're not respectful enough to the mothers that come in that room. Mm-hmm. But when the father come in there and he like, "Hey man, what's going on?" Mm-hmm. Now you putting the pressure on them.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, motherfuckers be trying to shortchange women, but when a man come in there, now you want to switch it up.
I think it might be the opposite. I feel like in education, like they might be more feared than the men. I'm talking about mothers going to the school. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying when a guy, obviously your dad is different, mm-hmm. but I feel like when guys go in there, they just kind of like lax. But in my experience, it'd be like the women that be in there like showing up to the things, and because it'd be a lot of like single mothers and stuff like that. But it goes both ways though. But I know some women they'll act out in there.
Maybe I have an outdated scenario, because when I was coming up, the family unit was more celebrated. There were a lot more 2-parent households when I was coming up, you know, including mine's. But no, you're right though. I can see that. Especially a single mom that is at work and she gotta leave work, which is her place where she gotta support the fucking kids.
Yeah, kid acting
She
up.
coming up there with a full head of steam. Like, nigga, I was at work. You know what I'm saying? Do you know how long I've been on OnlyFans and I gotta come over here to discipline my child?
Yeah.
No,
She walking on campus dripping. Squash, 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 squash.
oh man, coming up to the school, pussy wet as a motherfucker. I'm kidding, man.
That's crazy.
It's satire, folks. There are plenty of women that are respectable, that do respectable jobs, that don't want to waste their fucking time at the school.
Yeah.
Because the school can't get it together. All right. Switching gears. Backlash over NFL player Harrison Butker's commencement speech has reached a new level. Now, recently, Harrison Butker, who is a kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, had a commencement speech. All right. The NFL is distancing itself from controversial comments by Kansas City Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker during a recent commencement address. In the addition to calling Pride Month a deadly sin and bemoaning diversity and equity initiatives, Butker set off waves of criticism when he suggested that women find more fulfillment through getting married and having children than pursuing careers. Directly after quoting a song by Taylor Swift, the backlash has been building since Butker made the comments Saturday in the address to graduates in Benedictine College, a small Catholic school in Atkinson, Kansas. The NFL issued a statement Wednesday saying Butker's comments don't reflect the views of the league. Okay. Here's what I got to say about Harrison Butker. There are a lot of women that are very upset about what he said, but this is my stance. Okay, my stance is that my biggest issue with Harrison Butker is he, instead of doing an actual commencement speech, he was doing a lot of agenda pushing. He was doing a lot of agenda pushing. It sounded like Biden when he went to an all-black fucking college last year and was like, we're going to get rid of AR-15s. Nigga, we don't give a fuck about that shit. You brought your old withery raisin ass to a black college to tell us about issues that are not impacting us. It's no different than what the fuck Harrison Butker did. He came up here and within the first 1 minute and 19 seconds, he was talking about leadership in the White House and how it was bad leadership. Look here, I'm not a fan of Trump or Biden, right? And I don't think it's the best leadership. But it's not the place for a commencement speech. Do that shit somewhere else. I feel like when you're doing a commencement speech, it should generally empower everybody that's walking across the stage that worked their ass off for 4 to 6 years. Not a moment for you to push your personal beliefs on people. Now, I understand it's a Catholic graduation, but nigga, it's a graduation. Can you give a speech that's empowering so you can move on? You know how many commencement speeches I've heard that, you know, from like fucking Denzel Washington and all kinds of people that get up there and say very powerful things. Yeah. That is the overall tone of a commencement speech. Now, what I'm not here to do is push back on Harrison Barnes' beliefs. Okay,
Harrison Barnes.
I mean, not Harrison Barnes. Harrison Butker's beliefs. Okay? If he feels like women should be in the kitchen making sandwiches, good for him. Fuck him. I think that multiple things are true. I think that women feel offended because they're like, how dare a man tell me what my highlights of my life will be and what should be. Okay? And since we don't know, I can never quantify how it feels to be a woman. I don't know the nuances that exist in a woman's life. So I'm not going to get up here and say, oh, well, it's not a big deal. It's probably a very huge deal. We don't know how much they've experienced men making comments like this throughout their lives. See, as men, we have a blind spot for all the times women feel offended. There's a lot of times that men will say shit like, it was a video this girl captured. She was working out on the treadmill by herself and an older dude walked up and he says, you should smile. You should really smile. And I'm like, nigga, shut the fuck up. She just working out, minding her business, nigga. Go sit down somewhere. Telling a woman to smile. So here's the deal. I think women need Harrison Butkers. And here's why. You need to be able to point at men like that and say, look, it's niggas still acting like this. That's what you need. You need people like that. Because if men were only favorable to women and at the same time being oppressive, no one would fucking believe you when you said anything. Also, it's freedom of speech. You need motherfuckers like this so you can also have a stance. I will tell you first-handedly as a black man that in America, they have Confederate soldiers that Confederate, not soldiers, but Confederate, what do you call them? Not leaders, but Confederate, whatever, statues. They have Confederate statues of men who fought to preserve slavery all over the country. Do you think I don't have a problem with that? Absolutely. However, during COVID, when they started pulling them down, I was like, man, fuck them statues. They could pull them all down. And then I thought about it. I was like, nah, they really shouldn't pull them down. Because you need those statues to prove what was going on in this country at some point. You can't just suppress or delete history, even if it's not the history that you like. Do you follow what I'm saying? So you may not like what Harrison Butker had to say, but you can't stifle what this man has to say because it would also suppress your freedom of speech. That's how it works, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think I don't actually have a problem with what he says, just because it's like I'm just not that invested in like his sentiments. I can see why women would be offended, by some of the stuff he said. He, essentially said like that's the greatest highlight of your life will be, being a husband and starting a family and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think that I think it's important to know that he's talking to a specific Catholic school, a Catholic college, in Kansas City, and or in I don't know if it's in Kansas City. It's in Kansas, some city in Kansas.
Atkinson.
Yeah, so that's important to know. That's what I would probably think is like a very conservative school. If it's kind of Catholic based. So he seems to be talking to and there were some people that was actually like acknowledging some of the stuff that he was saying.
He got the number one selling jersey after that.
Yeah, so it seemed to be pretty effective. I will say that there were I did see a headline and I didn't read the full article, but I seen that there were some nuns at the school that
disagreed.
They didn't necessarily agree with everything that he said. But I also think that sometimes we hear what we want to hear.
Absolutely.
In some statements, and I'm not talking about his political stuff, like the Pride Month stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about like what I interpreted as him saying is like, I am a successful kicker. I got a Super Bowl. Was he on the last Super Bowl team?
Yeah. I
got a couple Super Bowl rings. But the highlight of my life is like being a husband and, I think what he was also saying was like the highlight of his wife life is being a wife and
starting her vocation
and a mother. Yeah, right. So I think that that's kind of what he's trying to say. I think but I also understand that people can hear that and be like, well, what does he know? Like, we are more than just wives and mothers and stuff like that.
That's what I'm getting at.
We could do all this and, but I would also say like, that's, I don't think that that's what he was trying to say, that women are monolith. I think that he was just speaking from like a faith-based version of it. But
it was some agenda pushing in there for sure.
Yeah, I know. I'm just talking about the stuff he's talking about with the women.
Oh yeah.
But I think overall though, the weirdest. I mean, I haven't listened to every commencement speech, and I didn't even fully listen to this one. But some of the stuff that I did hear, the excerpts that I did hear from it, I'm like, that is weird. I don't know. Like, I just looked up real quick, like what goes into a commencement speech, and one of it was just like, give personal stories and kind of go in there with the theme and knowing your audience and all these things. which I think he did know his audience. Obviously, if his jersey is selling afterwards, and obviously, like, a lot of the people in the audience seem to like what he was saying. And there's a lot of people on the internet that's like, hey, I don't see nothing wrong with what he said. But there, I don't think that, you know, it is his opinion. I just think the thing that is kind of weird is the place in which he chose to talk about these things. Like, this is a commencement speech. I think anytime that I've sat through any of these speeches at a graduation, I have no idea what my college commencement speech sounded like. But anytime, at least in high school, like, you know, anytime I went to some sort of graduation, it's always been like inspiring. Like, hey, you're an adult now. You're about to go into the real world.
There you go.
This is what happened to me. Like, you know, if I were to rewrite his thing, I would say, you know, my name is Harrison Butker. I was, you know, the number whatever kicker in the nation, and I worked really hard, and then, you know, I finally got a scholarship to this school, and then did this, and then, you know, we worked really hard, and we made it to the Super Bowl. We were down and out. We had a terrible record, and then I just kept going and kept going and kept going and kept my faith in God, and then people would be like, oh my God, like they would be like, this is so amazing. Like, I feel like running through a wall right now.
Right.
But instead, the nigga go up there and just like, you know, like, our president is trash. You know, Pride Month is overrated.
Women should make sandwiches.
Women need to make sandwiches. Yeah, all this stuff. So I don't know. That is just kind of off.
There are so many. This is more nuanced than what people are making it, because, like I mentioned before, I feel like he was pushing his agenda. And I also think, and that was through like a political lens, but I do think he was referencing the Bible in some ways. And I think that a person that's deep into Catholic faith would agree with that. Mm-hmm. But I also think he stated, like, my wife's journey truly started when she committed to the faith and, you know, started her vocation, right? And a lot of women push back on that because they interpret it as, wow, so I'm so big and bad, and my wife's life didn't even start until she became a wife and a such and such, right? That's how people are doing it. But you have to understand, anybody who was offended blocked you out. They're not looking to find a common ground. They're not looking to comprehend anymore. Once they disagree with what you say, they only comprehend it in an offensive tone. Mm-hmm. And that's anybody, whether it's liberals, conservatives, doesn't matter who it is. I've seen people, when they said Black Lives Matter and somebody say all lives matter. Mm-hmm. And it's like, why are only black people important? And it's like, and then the black person will tell them, no, we're not saying only black people matter. We just feel that right now is black people are not really being, you know, treated X and Y. And they're like, well, you're being racist because you should add all people.
Yeah, why do you have to exclude other races?
That's the thing. People will only understand through a lens that is offensive when they don't like you. I would encourage women to do this. Continue to be great and also grow thicker skin. And it's going to sound fucked up coming from a man. You're like, oh my God, don't tell me to be taking offensive words. Yes, you need to. It is part of the real world. You know how many times, you know how many times as a black person you see offensive shit? At some point, you got to be like, yo, am I really that offended, or am I just triggered by something that I don't agree with?
I've been seeing some wild stuff on like Twitter sometimes.
Yeah.
And then I'll try to flag it, and then they'll be like, we didn't deem this as racist or insensitive.
Just leave it alone. You got Klan rallies going around America right now. Do you think that's not something that's offensive? Let them have the Klan. Fuck it. Even though it's a terrorist group, let them have it. Here's why. At the end of the day, people are going to believe what they're going to believe. And it is up to you to respond to that in a certain way. But just being offended and you have to be able to comprehend it more than anything. And you'll say, hey, you know what? This guy is saying things that I'm interpreting as homophobic, that I'm interpreting as agenda pushing, or whatever the case. However, that is his opinion. Mm-hmm. I think this guy really believes in his opinion. I don't even know if he's trying to purposely be offensive. I think this is how he really feels. And even though I disagree with it, he can have it. That is a healthy way of receiving a message you do not like.
Yeah, I think we need more. I honestly think that it's important to have these like very conservative voices, and not in a way where it's like disrespectful,
right? Or
you get like some of the conservative sentiments can come off as like racist. Not in that way, but just in a way where it's like we have more parity in our conversations.
Right.
You know, we're not, because I think in social media, like liberal voices tend to like oversaturate the algorithms. But I think it's important to just hear another side. And I think it's important because if you're just kind of like in this echo chamber of the ideas that you have, like you're just going to live in that, and it just doesn't really push, like there's no progress in that.
Absolutely.
But I think if you have like a guy like Harrison to come on there and say like something you may not necessarily agree with, but you may even become stronger in your own beliefs because you've heard something that he said, or you may hear something that he said and be like, hey, actually there's something to that, like to something he said. Maybe the government isn't like doing what they're supposed to.
Absolutely.
Or something like that.
Only having liberal voices is fucking dangerous. Only having conservative voices is fucking dangerous. Mm-hmm. You cannot silence somebody because you don't like them. That is the real world. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people that were conservative that were getting silenced. And at one point I was like, oh yeah, who cares about them? But then I'm like, nah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. You cannot do that. Even if I disagree with somebody, I have to be able to respect their freedom of speech and be like, yo, I don't like this motherfucker. I don't even like what he's saying. But at the end of the day, I got to respect it. And also the highest level of that is seeing somebody you disagree with and still finding the validity in some of their views. And the reason why that's important is you need to remain objective at all times. Mm-hmm. Just because you disagree with one thing doesn't mean you should disagree with the whole person. That means you got a problem. Mm-hmm. I see so many people like, I don't even want to talk to Candace Owens. I don't like Candace Owens. She's never said anything good. That's a fucking lie. Mm-hmm. Candace Owens has said some shit that I deemed as anti-black, that I deemed as ignorant, that I deemed as very short-sighted. But there's things she has said that have great validity, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm putting my ear to it based on the fact that I'm an objective person.
Yeah.
Society is not very objective, and you learn that when you see scenarios like this pop off. This shit went viral. Everybody, like, women are like, oh my God, he's just so misogynistic. He's this, he's that. Look, I understand you feel that way, but it's okay to feel disrespected. Like, I'm not going to invalidate how women feel. I just need y'all to really look at this motherfucker and decipher what, if there's any validity in anything he said, then take that. If there's other things that you felt were offensive and short-sighted and vague and ignorant, then also recognize that. But when you shut someone completely out because you just feel offended, that's dangerous. Mm-hmm. It's dangerous, bro. There are so many people in this country that only subscribe to conservative narratives. They only subscribe to liberal narratives. They only subscribe to whatever else. Mm-hmm. And that shit in itself is bad. Mm-hmm. What I can tell from Harrison Butker talking, that he is extremely conservative, that he is extremely religious in his faith, but he is also extremely ignorant, and he's also agenda pushing. Yeah. Because if you were truly an intelligent person, regardless of how you feel, you don't have to tuck away how you feel, but you need to look at a whole audience of people who are graduating, and you need to have the foresight to know what can be unnecessary, what can be offensive, and what could be counterproductive to this commencement speech. If you don't do your job in finding out what that is, and you just up there just talking, then you fucked up.
But I don't think that though. The only people who are offended are people on TikTok. Like, that's what I'm saying. It worked in the actual location, Nobody there was, outside of the nuns at the thing.
Nah, there was some people that didn't like it. There was some people definitely that didn't like it.
That were there?
I don't know if they were there.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. If your commencement speech is not for the world, it's for the 400, 300 graduating, and college students that are sitting in front of you.
But once it makes it to the court of public opinion, now the world's involved.
But that's not really like that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's not writing his speech for the world. He's writing his speech for Benedict college or whatever it's called.
He didn't, but millions of people heard it. So I think that you need to have the foresight to, hey, I might go into, I don't know, it might be a banquet for a high school football team, and I might be only talking to a 53-man roster, but everyone's going to have their cameras out.
Yeah.
There's a possibility somebody might post it to TikTok. There's also a possibility it might go viral. There's also a possibility people might have an opinion about it. And if you don't use your brain and you just get up there and do this, then what the fuck do you think's going to happen?
I don't think that matters.
It
and
does.
It obviously doesn't matter because he knew he gave the same, not the same speech. He gave a similar one previously at Georgia Tech the year before, and then he did this one here. I don't think anybody. I think they understand like social media and stuff like that, but I don't think that people that are going up and he's just a famous athlete, so it's just going. And he kind of did like something that was very polarizing, so it just gained a lot of traction. But I just don't think that when you're writing a commencement speech, I don't think he should be writing it for the world. Like he's talking to Catholic students at a Catholic college.
You shouldn't be writing for the world, but with today's society, when things can have the capacity to get out and spread like wildfire, that also has to be something that you could consider. I will also say that the Chiefs and the NFL have made a statement stating that his views are not ours, but that's not because
that's the NFL.
It's the NFL. This is the same company that allows people to beat on women and go back to the league. You know what I'm saying? So they don't really give a fuck. They just doing it for liability purposes. This is the same. This is the same fucking league.
But who would even connect? That's the thing that I hate about society is like, why do they even have to say that? Obviously, it's the nigga's not wearing a freaking Chiefs uniform.
Because whenever you are representing the shield, whatever that means, they want it only to be in a positive light. Yeah. They only want it to be in a light that's favorable to them. Hence why they keep putting the fucking camera at the skybox when Taylor Swift is in there, because Taylor Swift is good for the NFL. Okay. Also, it's the same reason why they will sue anybody who is trying to make comparable clothing to the NFL. They will stifle you, but they will allow Kyle Juszczyk's wife to create fucking jackets because she is the wife of a NFL fullback. It's good when it's good for the league. It's good for the league. When it's questionable or bad for the league, it's bad for the league. And that's just how it works. Mm-hmm. And it's fucked up. Even though you got a bunch of ex-NFL players with brains that basically turned into scrambled eggs, you know, a lot of players that, you know, have retired and taken their life like Junior Seau, you know, so obviously that's not good publicity. So anything remotely that's not favorable, they just squash it. Yeah, man. I will say this though, more than anything, we have to be careful because I'm not going to invalidate women's feelings. I feel like there's certain things where I do understand why they would be offended, but I think it's also important to see how you feel when things are favorable versus questionable or something you don't like. If he went up there and he said something very favorable about women, like, you know, we don't need men and women are the only thing we need in this world, and you know,
men should stop body shaming.
And men should stop body shaming. If he said all the shit women wanted to hear, this would not go viral because it's so favorable and it's so hand clappy that it wouldn't get any pushback. But when things become viral when it's not the popular thing to say.
But I wouldn't even say that because he's speaking for a large community of people. I just think that
absolutely.
I just think that liberals tend to suck the air out of social media.
That's a good point too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I think he got favorable. There are some people that, you know, actually agree with him. And there's some people that are making videos and like, hey, I don't see nothing wrong with what he said. I just think that, you know, when it comes to entertainment and, you know, social media figures, I don't know, you very rarely see like a very like out and out, like I feel like if they are, you know, conservative, they're kind of like in the closet or they don't really speak about politics at all.
Yeah, what's his name? Was it Bryan Cranston? He's conservative.
Yeah.
But he doesn't like it's. He seems like a great guy, but he doesn't really like. He doesn't like say too much. I noticed that liberals tend to be a little more.
There's very flamboyant political people.
Being publicly liberal is a lot more accepted than being publicly conservative.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless you're like an actual political figure, like you're a pundit or you're working for, some sort of radio station, TV station or something like that. Yeah. Very rarely is there like the hot social media YouTuber or
that's
streamer. Yeah, you don't really hear that far too
that's
often.
a good point.
But
What's her name? Oh my God, she has a daytime show. She just had Kamala Harris on her show. Oh my God, damn it, what's her name? What's not Demi Moore?
Talking about the singer?
No.
Kelly
The
Clarkson.
child actor that she has a daytime TV show.
I know who you're talking about. She has her dad was like an actor or something, wasn't he?
I don't know. I gotta look it up. Let me see right here. Hold on. Let me just put Kamala interview. It'll pop it up. She called her Mamala. America needs a Mamala.
That's a wild thing to say.
Everybody was eating her ass up for it. It was on what show was this? God damn it.
Not Barrymore?
Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore says like America needs a Mamala. I'm like, God damn.
Yeah, you gotta
like even as a person that is more left leaning myself,
you gotta workshop that one better.
That's too fucking liberal.
I be thinking like when I look at like entertainment, I be thinking there has to be way more conservative, and I'm talking about people in our culture. Mm-hmm. There has to be way more conservative people than we actually think.
Yeah,
just because I don't imagine. Just how like selfish people is, I don't imagine people getting all this money and then all of a sudden just want to give it all away.
Fuck no.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of them is getting some real money. Like I feel like the people that you don't hear from all the time. Like obviously there's like people that that they're going on the thing and they're kind of like rallying for certain Democratic candidates. But I think that they're like the people that's probably just quiet. They don't ever really talk about politics. Like, not to say that he is, conservative, but I could imagine a guy like Denzel being like, man, I'm voting for Donald Trump this year.
Yeah, and then nobody knowing.
Yeah, and he could just go on with his life. And, anytime he asked about it, he could skirt the topic a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I wouldn't be shocked. Like Denzel is such like a very... he's like politically ambiguous. I wouldn't like consider him to be.
Yeah,
anything.
you just don't know.
You just don't know. He's we're probably closer to him as like podcasters. We don't have extreme liberal and conservative narratives that we spew on here. Mm-hmm. But I can see him probably going to this like, I'm voting for Trump this year. I'm voting you niggas in Pelican Bay. You never know, man. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'll end this conversation with this. When things aren't favorable to the things you subscribe to, you might want to question how you feel. Why do you feel the way that you feel? Is it because there's something that was truly offensive, or what is it because that person's political or religious alignment is opposite of yours? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes that's what it is also.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes when and nowadays we also have to understand when people think differently than you, that is automatically seen as offensive for some people, not all people.
Yeah.
They'll be like, you like Jesus? Are you serious? I believe in Buddha.
Yeah.
We got to fight.
No, yeah, definitely Christians for sure. Like they're, I don't know, probably not as much now, but back in the day, it used to be like very polarizing. Like, oh, you Muslim? Like, don't come in my house. Or like you Buddhist, or you praying to who? Like you praying to a rain god? What the heck? So I think that, but I think I think there's been a lot of progress in terms of religion. So I would imagine like maybe in a few years, maybe politics may not be so polarizing, but who knows? But yeah, I do agree with you. I think that if you are, hearing different point of views, you hearing, different political pundits and different TV, radio and stuff like that. Just realize, like you said, why are you feeling the way you are? Is it because of the things that they say? Are they saying disrespectful things? Or do they just have a difference of opinion, and that's often, it's easy to decipher, when those things are being said. So, yeah. But, that's all I got on that, man. You ready to wrap it up?
We can. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see if we got a quick hitter. Yeah, we do. We got a quick hitter.
Okay.
It's the Chipotle. We're gonna end this talking about our hatred for Chipotle. Okay. Switching gears. Chipotle portion sizes. All right. End quote. People need to normalize walking out. Chipotle customer walks out mid-order after worker cheats him out of food. There has been a widespread phenomenon of people getting skimped on meat at Chipotle. And what's been happening is once people put a bullshit scoop of meat on there, they just stop mid-scoop and say, you know what? I'm fine. And customers are walking out of Chipotle.
This is a trend?
It is a legitimate trend. People are and they're videotaping it and putting it on TikTok. Mm-hmm. And it made it up to one of the, I think it was the CEO and or one of the, I don't know, one of the marketing guys, one of the guys at the top of the company. And he was doing an interview and he basically stated like, oh, we haven't changed much. There was like a chicken shortage at one point, but we're good now. We've redeemed ourselves and that, the people who talk or they filibuster the whole interview with empty words and and filler words and they don't really say anything. Mm-hmm. And the price of the food is obviously went up and people are getting less of it and they're tired of it. Mm-hmm. And I don't blame them. And I don't think it's okay to run a business and not give people stuff. I haven't been to Chipotle in a while, but I can specifically remember when I went there and what I do is I used to wait to order extra chicken. I would see how big the scoop they gave me before I asked for extra chicken. Mm-hmm. And man, this girl had half a scoop of chicken. I said, hey, what's going on? She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, that's not a scoop of chicken. She's like, it's a scoop. Yeah, it's a scoop. Yeah. And I was like, come on. She's like, oh, okay. And then she just got a little bit more on the edge of the spoon and put it in there. I was like, that is not enough protein. I just came from the fucking gym. I need a whole bowl of chicken. People say that we're making things up. But I remember going to Panda Express back in the day or going to Chipotle and they give you a monster scoop. You had chicken, a mound of chicken on the top of that big ass fucking spoon that looks like a ladle and they just put the meat in it. And yeah.
The thing about this conversation is the CEO doesn't really have anything to say. And the reason the CEO doesn't have anything to say, I don't know how Chipotle is structured, but if it's a franchise, then the person that is really the person that's supposed to have the conversation is the person that owns it or the management that's coming down. And this is from me working in fast food. I know what that looks. I know what those conversations look like. They like, hey, go easy on the chicken. We want to, because everybody's trying to maximize their profits. When I was working at McDonald's, they never threw the food away. Mm-hmm. There's a protocol where you put the little meat in the tray and you set the timer for, I don't know, it'd be like 15 minutes or something like that. And you're supposed to discard the meat afterwards. But these people are all trying to figure out a way to maximize their profit. So they feel like if they do a half a scoop instead of a full scoop, they could stretch the chicken out, that much further. And they basically going to double their profits. So yeah, that's just the way it works. I think, not to say that, not to absolve them from any wrongdoing. I'm just saying that's what's going on.
But the biggest reason why they got in hot shit is because the biggest food influencer in the world, who is Keith Lee. You know Keith Lee, the black guy? He's like, I got it. Let's try it and rate it 1 through 10. Mm-hmm. He went to Chipotle, and he actually had a deal with Chipotle at one time to make a custom like quesadilla. That's like the Keith Lee quesadilla with the dip, and he drove so much business to Chipotle during that time. But he recently just tried Chipotle. He was not happy with it. He said, this steak don't taste right. It tastes like Steakums, like frozen steak. I don't like this at all. I give this a 2 out of 10. And he didn't like it, man. And he can't be bought. If he goes to your restaurant and you fuck up, he'll be like, nah, this ain't it, man. I don't do this. But basically, his Chipotle has long appealed the youth male gym rat who looks to fill up with a load of protein after a hard workout. But for months on social media, the fast casual brand has been accused of skimping on the portion sizes, especially as prices have climbed. Powerful influencers like Keith Lee, who has partnered with Chipotle on menu promotions and calls himself an out loud supporter, are among those saying chicken has been lacking from his usual bowl. And the steak quesadilla he made famous with vinaigrette mixed with sour cream dropped in his rating from a 10 to a 2.5. Something changed, end quote. And I don't know what it is, he said. Some refer to the good old days of peak Chipotle when you could get a generous bowl for $11 or that food is being rationed like Hunger Games. The rants on TikTok appear to have snowballed in recent weeks. Man, look here, dog. What you're not going to do is this. If you're going to charge me more, you can't give me less. At least give me the same.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to play me like that, dog. But, this one dude posted a video on TikTok recently that had me dying, though. He said, this is why I go to Chipotle in the hood. And then this girl put the most monstrosity chicken scoop. I'm talking about, it was like she dug it to the bottom of the fucking chicken. You know where they put the chicken in the metal thing? She put it to the bottom and lifted up, and it was a mound of chicken. And he was like, can you put extra chicken, please? She's like, okay. And she did it again. And then the chicken, bro, the chicken was covering the whole plate. You couldn't see no veggies or nothing.
Dude, is the burrito still like busting out the seams?
I don't know, but the bowl that young man got had enough beans to make me shit on myself for 2 days. There was so many beans he got, because the extra beans are free. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you be like, let me get extra beans. But you can't go too crazy. Them Chipotle beans will blow your asshole up. Yeah, you'll be feeling like you was hanging out with Diddy after eating them beans.
That's crazy. Yeah, any listener
you
out there,
deserve it, Daddy.
Any listener out there, if you go to Chipotle, let me know if the burritos, because they used to be like
a football.
Like they used to not be able to fit in the foil. Like it used to be crazy like that. So if they not, that's the, obviously they skimping out on the chicken, but I'm curious if they like skipping out on the chicken, but then putting like extra other stuff in there to make the burrito still fat, or if the burrito is just overall smaller. But yeah, Chipotle, do better.
Yeah. Yep. Well, not a whole lot else to say about this. I hope Chipotle, I hope you step up and do right by the people.
Yeah.
Okay. If not, we getting you out of here.
We're gonna cancel Chipotle.
Yeah, I'm gonna make my own Chipotle bowls at home.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's pretty easy. I made you could get like a little adobo chilies or whatever. And then, season your chicken and stuff like that. You could make you a little Chipotle bowl at the crib.
Oh yeah, you make it good. It's real simple. What I do is I just get the can of beans, like the low sodium pinto beans. Just drain the water and I put it in, maybe like a shallow pan, and put a little bit of just a little bit of water, slow cook it because it's already done. And then take it out and then chop up, use some onions, cilantro.
Yeah.
You get
some lettuce.
Yeah, you get some lettuce, get the beans all on there. I either use ground turkey or chicken thighs. With the chicken thighs, I take them and season them like he said, and then I'll put them in a George Foreman and just let them cook. And they come out perfect every time. Well, no more recipes from me. That's going to cost you more. All right. Well, if you made it to the end of this episode, we appreciate you. Thank you for listening to our Trucker's Mind podcast. I'm Eddie McGee.
It's your boy K Fings.
We're out of here.
Peace.